Radar contact, high altitude, closing fast toward Ukrainian coast. December 22, 2023. Ukrainian air defense tracks Russian bomber over Black Sea. Sukhoi Su-24M fencer loaded with guided bombs. Mission: strike coastal infrastructure near Odessa. The bomber never reaches its target. S-300 missile battery engages from land position 80 kilometers away. Launch authorization granted. 2 missiles fire in rapid succession. Flight time 47 seconds. The Su-24 has no warning, no time to evade. Impact at 6,000 meters altitude. Aircraft disintegrates. Debris rains into the Black Sea 60 kilometers offshore. 2 crew members lost. One $52 million bomber erased from Russian inventory. This is December 2023. Ukrainian air defense reaches over water. Welcome to Black Sea Doctrine, where the sky above the sea belongs to whoever controls the shore. The shootdown represents tactical evolution. For months, Russian aircraft operated with relative impunity over Black Sea waters, beyond range of Ukrainian air defense, safe zone for launching missiles and glide bombs. Ukrainian forces could not effectively contest airspace beyond territorial waters. S-300 systems deployed for homeland defense, limited missiles, prioritized protecting cities and infrastructure. Shooting aircraft over water seemed wasteful. High-value missiles for uncertain kills. But the calculus changes as Russian aviation tactics evolve. Su-24 and Su-34 bombers begin using KAB series guided bombs. Standoff weapons released from high altitude. The bombs glide toward coastal targets guided by satellite navigation, destructive and difficult to intercept. Ukraine faces sustained bombardment from aircraft operating in supposedly safe airspace. Ukrainian command makes strategic decision: extend air defense umbrella over adjacent waters, risk the missiles, contest the airspace, deny Russia safe operating zones. The December 22nd shootdown proves the concept works. One sea, one contested airspace. Would you fly a $52 million bomber through it? The tactical implications spread instantly. Russian Air Force revises operating procedures. Bombers no longer approach Ukrainian coast at medium altitude. New protocols: stay below radar horizon or operate at extreme standoff range beyond S-300 engagement envelope. Mission planning becomes complicated. Longer flight times, reduced bomb accuracy from extended range, increased fuel consumption. All because Ukrainian air defense reached 80 kilometers over water. Black Sea Doctrine has been tracking this evolution since Ukrainian forces began adapting Soviet-era S-300 systems for extended-range engagement. The missiles were designed in the 1970s for different warfare, but Ukrainian engineers modify software, adjust parameters, and optimize performance for Black Sea conditions. Innovation born from necessity, the losses mount for Russian aviation. On January 14, 2024, another incident. This time, Su-30SM multi-role fighter patrolling over Black Sea. Ukrainian intelligence detects the aircraft through NATO reconnaissance sharing. P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft tracks Russian jets and relays data. Ukrainian air defense receives targeting information. Buk M1 system engages from coastal position. The Su-30SM is more advanced than Su-24, better sensors, electronic warfare capabilities, should detect missile launch and evade, but the engagement geometry favors defense. Missile approaches from land, hidden by radar clutter and sea surface returns. Detection comes too late. The fighter attempts evasive maneuver, deploys chaff and flares, insufficient. The missile tracks through countermeasures. Proximity fuse detonates. Shrapnel shreds the aircraft's port engine and control surfaces. The Su-30SM spins out of control. Pilot ejects successfully. Navigator also ejects. Both crew members survive and are recovered by Russian search and rescue helicopter. The aircraft, total loss, $50 million into the sea. 2 pilots shaken but alive. Russian air operations over Black Sea reduced by 1 more airframe. Who controls the Black Sea? A. Russia. B. Ukraine and NATO. C. Turkey holds the key. comment your answer. The pattern becomes clear through early 2024. Ukrainian air defense creates exclusion zone extending 100 kilometers over Black Sea waters. Russian aircraft operating within this zone face significant risk. Several additional engagements occur, not all successful. Air defense missiles are expensive and inventory is limited. Ukrainian forces must calculate each engagement carefully, shoot only when probability of kill justifies the cost. Intelligence becomes crucial. NATO reconnaissance provides real-time tracking of Russian aircraft. Positioning, altitude, heading, speed. Ukrainian commanders receive complete tactical picture. They choose engagement opportunities where geometry and conditions favor success. Shoot when Russian aircraft are predictable, flying steady courses toward known targets. Avoid shots against maneuvering fighters or aircraft using terrain masking, the mathematics of air defense warfare. But what happened during the February 17th engagement shocked even NATO observers. Russian forces attempted coordinated strike package against Odessa port. 4 Su-24 bombers escorted by 2 Su-35 fighters. The bombers carried KAB-500 guided bombs. The fighters provided electronic warfare support and air cover. Formation approached from over Black Sea intending to launch weapons at standoff range. Ukrainian air defense had different plans, coordinated engagement using multiple systems. S-300 batteries engaged the Su-35 fighters, forcing them into evasive maneuvers and disrupting their electronic warfare coverage. Simultaneously, Buck M1 systems targeted the bomber formation. The Su-24s broke formation attempting to evade. Bombs released prematurely without proper guidance solutions. One Su-24 was hit and destroyed. Another sustained damage but limped back to base. The remaining 2 bombers aborted and fled. None of the KAB-500 bombs hit intended targets. Most fell harmlessly into the sea. One struck empty warehouse. Ukrainian air defense achieved mission kill without destroying entire formation. The strike was effectively defeated. Russia paid with 1 bomber destroyed, 1 damaged, and complete tactical failure. This represents evolution beyond simple shootdowns. Ukrainian forces now coordinate complex air defense operations over water, multiple systems working together, fighters suppressed by long-range missiles while bombers engaged by medium-range systems. Layered defense extending from coast deep into Black Sea airspace. Russian Aviation Command faces serious problem. How do you conduct strikes against coastal targets when air defense reaches 100 kilometers offshore? Options narrow considerably. Standoff range must increase. Weapons must launch from 150 to 200 kilometers distance. But KAB series bombs lack that range. Cruise missiles like KH-101 have the range but are expensive and inventory is limited. Russia cannot afford to expend $1 million cruise missiles on every tactical strike. The economic war equation again. Ukraine forces Russia into impossible choices. Risk aircraft worth $50 million or expend expensive missiles. Either option bleeds Russian resources. Is this pushing NATO closer to direct involvement? Comment Y or N. The shootdowns over Black Sea carry additional political dimension. International maritime law is complex regarding airspace over international waters. Ukrainian air defense engaging aircraft in international airspace over Black Sea creates potential legal questions. Russia protests diplomatically, claiming Ukrainian forces violate international norms, but the argument is weak. Russia is conducting war against Ukraine. Ukrainian forces have legal right to self-defense, including engaging aircraft preparing to attack Ukrainian territory. Where those aircraft are located when engaged is secondary to their hostile intent. NATO legal experts support Ukrainian position. International law allows defensive engagement of hostile forces even before they enter sovereign airspace if attack is imminent. Russian bombers approaching Ukrainian coast loaded with weapons clearly represent imminent threat. Engagement is justified. Russia's protests are propaganda for domestic consumption. By March 2024, Russian air operations over Black Sea declined significantly. Sortie rates dropped by 60% compared to pre-December 2023 levels. Aircraft avoid Ukrainian coast except for limited long-range missile strikes. The exclusion zone works. Ukrainian air defense achieved local air superiority without fighter aircraft. Only ground-based systems and good intelligence. The lesson is significant for other conflicts. Modern air defense systems deployed along coastlines can project power far over adjacent waters. Nations with limited air forces but capable air defense can contest airspace over maritime approaches. The Black Sea becomes another laboratory for modern warfare. Traditional assumptions about air superiority erased by capable surface-to-air missiles and good targeting data. Russian Air Force, meanwhile, adapts tactics again. If medium-altitude operations are too dangerous, then go low, below radar coverage exploiting sea clutter, or go very high above effective S-300 engagement ceiling. Both approaches have drawbacks. Low-altitude flying is risky over water, navigation is difficult, weather affects operations, weapons accuracy suffers. High-altitude attacks from beyond S-300 range require longer standoff and sacrifice precision. The operational effectiveness of Russian air power diminishes regardless of chosen approach. Ukraine achieves strategic effect through tactical air defense employment, force the enemy to choose between bad options. Each Russian adaptation reduces their combat effectiveness. What breaks next? The grain deal, Turkish neutrality, or Russian deterrence? In terms of Black Sea airspace, Russian deterrence already broke. Ukraine proved that S-300 and Buk systems can kill modern Russian aircraft over water. Fear factor evaporated. Russian pilots now approach Black Sea missions with justified anxiety. Will Ukrainian air defense engage today? Will NATO provide targeting data? Will I return to base? Psychological warfare supplements kinetic effects. The cumulative aircraft losses also matter. Russia started the war with approximately 120 Su-24 bombers. Each loss is irreplaceable. Soviet-era production lines closed decades ago. Modern replacements like Su-34 are expensive and produced slowly. Approximately 20 Su-34s manufactured per year. Russia cannot afford to lose aircraft faster than industry replaces them. Every Su-24 shot down over Black Sea is one less bomber available for operations elsewhere. Ukraine's air defense over water directly impacts Russian air power across entire theater. By April 2024, the new normal is established. Russian aircraft avoid Ukrainian coastal approaches. Strikes against Odessa and other Black Sea targets rely primarily on cruise missiles launched from bombers operating over Russian territory or from ships far offshore. The air defense exclusion zone remains effective. Ukrainian forces maintain vigilance. Missiles are precious. Every engagement must count. But the deterrent effect is real. Russian Air Force respects Ukrainian air defense capabilities over Black Sea waters. The sky above the sea is contested space where neither side operates freely. Black Sea Doctrine concludes this is strategic victory for Ukraine despite limited resources. Deny the enemy freedom of action. Force them into inefficient operations. Attrit their capabilities over time. Classic defensive warfare producing offensive results. Trade routes, missiles, and war. Black Sea Doctrine. Will Russia develop new tactics to overcome Ukrainian air defense? Can Ukraine maintain air defense coverage indefinitely with limited missile inventory? Will NATO provide additional long-range systems to extend the exclusion zone? These questions define the future of Black Sea air operations. The answers determine who controls the skies above one of the world's most strategic waters. And control of the sky means control of the sea below. Subscribe to Black Sea Doctrine, where Black Sea power decides everything.